Hi everyone. I have a smattering of tech news for you this week, just because I saw some things that I wanted to tell you about. And I'll say those after the forecast. And hopefully I won't forget. So this week Mars moves into Libra and we have the full moon in Aquarius. And also something that happens on Monday. A couple things that happen on Monday that apply to this week as well, and that's the Saturn-Uranus sextile. Number 2, there are 3. The first one was April 4th. The one after the one that happens this coming Monday, so not Monday the 4th, but Monday the 11th. The third one is on January 19th. So this is Saturn conjoins Uranus in late Pisces and late Taurus in April, and the stock market, the stock market went straight down, and the one that's happening next Monday is in early Aries and early Gemini, and then the one that happens in January of 2026 is in late Pisces and late Taurus again. So interesting tale. I'll talk a little bit more about it next week. But that disruptive Saturn, Saturn is like consistency and things staying the same and conservatism, not in the political way, but in the literally preserving traditions, old things. And Uranus is a breaker of traditions, which is very different from Saturn sign Aquarius, which is also a breaker of traditions, but not ruled by Uranus. There is an analogous taste to Uranus in regards to the sign of Aquarius, but Uranus does not rule Aquarius. It is interesting and beautiful and elegant of the universe to put Uranus, make Uranus the next planet outside Saturn, which is the boundary, where Aquarius is everything outside the boundary and Capricorn is everything inside the boundary. So that's cute, of the living cosmos to arrange, but Uranus doesn't rule Aquarius. And that is all I have to say about that for now. That was kind of a tangent, but kind of not. So Saturn is applying to Uranus right now. It's getting closer and closer all week, and it doesn't go exact until next Monday. And the same thing for the Venus-Jupiter conjunction. That is a really nice configuration. This is exalted Jupiter and Venus with triplicity dignity, doing perfectly fine in the sign of Cancer. So there's something sweet and nice in the midst of other stuff going on, and they're kind of in different areas of life. I mean, the other thing about the Venus-Jupiter situation is, so it's in a different area of life than this Saturn-Uranus thing, but the Venus-Jupiter conjunction it's loosely separating from a square, so it's configured to a sign-based square with Saturn and Neptune in Aries. So maybe something good gets in the way of whatever's going on with the future. And you can have a break. And I am... Mercury is retrograde while I'm recording this, and I'm having... I still don't have my static. I found this stuff that works really well for staticky hair. And I also have a wooden comb, because I heard those are anti-static. But it doesn't work that well. And I put 2 and 2 together and realized Mercury is retrograde in Leo, and that has come straight from my hair. So I keep fussing with it. in this video. Tuesday, oh, okay, yeah, I haven't even started talking about the week yet. So Monday, nothing happens. That doesn't mean that nothing happens on Monday, because there's stuff coming down the pipeline. Like, basically Monday, the moon is applying to a square with Mars. So much could happen on Monday. This is the moon in Sagittarius applying to a square with Mars and Virgo, which we're all probably pretty tired of right now. So watch out for Monday for that reason, like picking fights, criticism, wanting to move around, but like somehow that plan is criticized, or there's something wrong with it, or there's a reason you can't, or whatever. But Monday is maybe like kind of not a great mood. I don't love the vibe on Monday. That doesn't mean that it's like really bad. It's just like, well, if you get part of the way into Monday and you aren't enjoying your experience, just know that you're not doing it wrong. The moon is applying to a square with Mars. And it's kind of like the last high five of the moon. It's the last thing that touches Mars before it moves into Libra, which is on Wednesday. So Tuesday, the moon square Mars thing goes exact at 8 a.m. So it's another morning where it might be like a rude awakening, or one of those mornings where you can get up without, sorry, my mom's calling me. Where you can get up without an alarm, and God. I apologize for these recent videos where I'm just like highly uncomfortable. I need, you know those paintings? I was scrolling Cosmos yesterday because I'm tired of Instagram. It disrupts my psychology too much. I mean, I have like multiple Instagram accounts that are all highly curated towards a specific thing. Like, one is technology, and it has also become technology and travel, because the algorithm like sneaks surprise things in there to like, what about this? What about this? Because it wants to like fill out all your interests, but I try to keep them very narrow. I don't know, I'm telling you all this because I want to. Anyway, I have all these Instagram accounts to keep my scrolling targeted, but the algorithm will still show you garbage that you don't want to see, and stuff that like interferes with my vibe. I'm trying to vibe here. I'm not really trying to like get real information. So I was scrolling Cosmos instead, and I ended up in this like down this rabbit hole of just like fragments of paintings of beautiful naked women, and they're all like reclining on a excuse me, on like a divan, a fainting couch, a bed strewn with colorful tapestries. And that's what I'd like for myself moving forward, is just like, can I roll around and like do this? That's what I'm looking for. This like whatever color this wall is. It's like institutional, like school. The inside of a classroom white, and it's not eggshell, it's like matte. Anyway, not knocking it. I'm very happy to be here. So, okay. Anyway, the point is that I'm becoming increasingly more and more uncomfortable in my videos, just like that it is really affecting. It is affecting their performance. It is affecting my performance. And I was much more comfortable previously when I had like the consistent setup. Like last year, remember last year? Where like the desk and the bookshelf. Anyway, I start feeling better if I just talk about it for a minute. So anyway, Tuesday. So the moon squares Mars in the morning. and it's like later in the morning if you're on the East Coast in North America, and 10 a.m. Pacific, the moon moves into Capricorn. So different vibe now. And there's like kind of an activation of the Saturn-Uranus situation. The moon squares Saturn. So we're getting like a preview. I wouldn't say, I guess, necessarily that that's a full activation of it yet, but maybe there are some hints that like the foundation is, something is up with the structural integrity of the foundation. And, or like this isn't even, I can't even use like earthen metaphors anymore for the Uranus situation. This is like crackling, like some sort of short circuit. Something spreads like a wildfire. Maybe that? How does like Saturn in Aries, it's like something to, like, okay, last time Saturn sextiled Uranus, that was in Pisces and Taurus, and it was like the money tanked. And those are very literal, like the stores of value with the Uranus and Taurus, which Taurus isn't all value, but it's really good for this example, because it's literal money. The stores of value went down, they sank, which is like the heavy planet in the water sign. So this time, something is maybe blown out of proportion, or there's like a heavy-handed execution of something regarding exchange or the way we communicate, maybe. There are all these like blockchain apps now where like when you post it, all of your social media posts are like a little stock market, and you get money and people can trade, and then your like posts become like trading cards like that. I know that exposes me as someone who lived during a time when that was a thing. But I mean, I guess there's Pokemon, so. Anyway, Tuesday more just kind of activates the Saturn, the Neptune-ness of this Saturn Uranus. Oh, the other thing, I'm really all over the place right now. So the other thing that is interesting about this Saturn-Uranus thing coming up next week, and the one that happened back in April, is that back in April, Neptune was not around. Neptune was in Aries, and Saturn and Uranus had not yet like changed signs. So there's no Neptune in that. And this time Neptune is very involved. So that's interesting, and something to do with like Saturn, Neptune, and Aries is the metaverse. There's always something like photographic or something regarding like media, different types of media coming into being. Like during the Civil War, there was like war photography. Oh, and I thought of something. I'm really like doing kind of a long form. I'm sneaking long form things into this week. Okay, so I had a thought alert, that there's this whole like army of humanoid robots being built, and there are also many robots who are not humanoid, and there's also the outside-in robot, which is the giant robot. This is Pluto in Aquarius. It's the giant robot that envelops us all, that is like the all-sensing being. So like one time I went to the YouTube shooting space. This is before I did videos in Playa Vista in California. No, is that? I can't remember the name of that development right now. Or maybe I am right. Whatever. Anyway, it's in like Silicon Beach in Los Angeles. And I realized that the whole building is a robot. It's like a living, it films you, and then there's data. Okay, so I brought that up for the sake of example. But that's all I have to say about it. So it was a very nice space. So the thing was, like, you could shoot there if you had a certain number of followers. You could shoot there for free. You could like use their sound stages, which is really cool. I don't know if it is there anymore, but I was there helping somebody who was doing a shoot for YouTube. With like, okay, and also I tell everybody to drink out of glass bottles, and I'm drinking out of plastic bottles a lot right now, so I'm not living my values, but I'm not drinking out of a plastic bottle because I want to. It's just like, I'm falling apart, you guys. I need my like fainting couch covered in silks to deliver to you my weekly report. Okay, so what was I talking about? Robots, the robot uprising. So there's a weird thing, and Neptune is in Aries. And there's Saturn, Neptune. So I made this connection this week. So there's going to be like, robots are taking over everything. Like, you know, there's Elon Musk's diner where robots serve things, and it's just they're not going anywhere, and it's just going to be more and more and more. And so we have kind of a slave class of robots. They're robots. Like, that's why we're using robots. But then also, because there's no work, humans become indentured to a degree, because there's going to be things like UBIs, and they're going to be called community currency or something. Because we're not going to use like loaded terms like UBI or CBDC. They're going to be controlled by private entities, probably like venture-backed. And then there's going to be stuff like pay for success, or like social impact finance, where like you're invested in, but you must get the result. And like, so then there's like a behavior-based situation, and you're not just gonna like be given free money. You have to like allow us to form society, or like incentivize you to like pick the food that we think you should be eating, or whatever. So there are many ways that can be good if you want to like nudge society in a direction, and then obviously there are many ways that is not great. So this is back the last time Neptune was in Aries, we had the Civil War, where we had literal human slaves and a debate over that stuff. And obviously, I know that the Civil War was about other stuff too, and it wasn't as cut and dry. It's just like the like cracker bastards in the South wanted slaves. Like, some of them did, but I guess whatever. I'm not. I haven't really studied. I do not have my talking points together, and my mom keeps calling me. Okay, what was I saying? The point is, Neptune is in Aries. The Civil War was the last time Neptune was in Aries. And we got like the first war photography, which changed the face of war also. So I wonder what's up with the robots and slavery. Because we have robot slaves, machine slaves, and human and like indentured humans. More and more of them. Which makes it so like the social impact finance gone like completely wrong or like completely unchecked, and like the evil version of it is like it's basically a crime to be poor or like to not have money, because then like all your behavior, you get a UBI, but that's like controlled now with all these blockchain apps. The reason it has to be blockchain is because everything becomes money, becomes tradable in a market. Okay, I think I'm going to end that tirade. So Tuesday night, the moon opposes Venus. So after around 2 p.m. on Tuesday Pacific time, then the rest of the day is just the moon applying to, do you see this? It's like, it's just like sticking to my face. It's so staticky. I don't have my static juice. I'm having a super bad time. I'm getting like, I'm throwing a baby fit this week with like how uncomfortable I am. My hair is staticky. Mercury's still retrograde. It's after the conjunction at the time of filming, but not that far after. So the moon opposes Venus on Tuesday. This is the moon in Capricorn, the moon in detriment in Capricorn, opposing Venus in Cancer. So at least like you get some form of sweetness, or like we get like some comfort amidst like having to like put our nose to the grindstone. And then in the morning, the moon opposes Jupiter in Cancer. So again, the moon in Capricorn opposing Jupiter in Cancer, I think like, it's not quite the coffee is for closers, the coffee is for everybody. It's just like you're at work though. So it's treat day. There's a whole spread of like candy and treats, and there's free coffee. But you're at work. You're here to work. You're not here to totally enjoy yourself. We just want you to not have a bad time when you're working. And, oh, that's Wednesday. That happens on Wednesday morning. And then also, while the moon is void, this is funny because next week the moon is void when these other like big aspects come through. Mars enters Libra. So we get a shift in tone. This is Mars in detriment, so not functioning optimally. Praise be, after this Mars and Libra transit of about 6 weeks, we get Mars in Scorpio. And I'm looking forward to that. But Mars in Libra, so it's Mars in detriment, and like the main thing about Mars in Libra is like, if you're upset, if you have beef with something, that's really funny, like metaphor or like thing to say about like having a problem with something, since Mars signifies meat. Anyway, if you have a problem, you're not allowed to like do anything about it, because everybody's like, what's your problem? So this is like natal Mars in Libra. So then you learn over time to like never show your grievances and not ever let anybody know. And until like sometimes when you just like totally snap and blow your top, and maybe it's like, and then people are like, what's your problem? So it's like never really having a good time or a satisfying time with conflict, because you're not allowed. You're, it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing bringing your fighting attitude to this? Or it's like, so then like, you don't stand up for yourself enough, or you like do it too much, or there's like a passive aggressive component. So get ready for a lot of passive aggression, or like, I mean, can you like go kill him with like your charisma and being clever and calculating. And so you can see how like the bad version of that is being passive aggressive. Mars will be in Libra until the day of the autumnal equinox on September 22nd. I said equinox like stonks. So, okay, the moon is void when that happens. The moon moves into Aquarius at 6, a little bit before 6:30 on Thursday morning, so we get a different vibe again, and we're thoroughly back to the future. And we get a full activation of the Saturn-Uranus thing when the moon trines Uranus in Gemini and sextiles Saturn in Aries. So the moon hits, it's just like hitting that future configuration. And the moon trines Mars first thing in the morning, so again, that's another one of those mornings where it's easier to wake up early. Take note, Thursday. So Thursday is like the future. And I've talked about it a lot. Go watch the live, the most recent live I did. I talk about it a whole lot. And so the first, okay, I made a mistake. Well, it's not totally a mistake. I'm backpedaling a little bit. So it might be, this is not even a big deal, who cares? It might not be like that easy to wake up because all these like future aspects, they happen one after another at nighttime. So all day it's like applying to it. So it still might be kind of easy to wake up. The moon is technically applying to Mars after it moves into Aquarius. Oh my God, okay. I'm not even going to delete this. I'm just going to be completely transparent with the fact that I read my notes wrong, which is like, the moon doesn't move into Aquarius until, I'm going to let you see my mistake. I'm not going to go back and edit this. You just get to see it. The moon does not, so we're starting Thursday over. The moon does not move into Aquarius until a little after 6 p.m. Pacific time. So all day Thursday, the moon is void. That means it's just kind of like a no man's land. So most of Thursday is kind of like, it'd be a good day to do nothing, to couch rat, as they say. That's kind of Thursday until the moon moves into Aquarius, like after business hours. And then it hits all those future planets. So that's like a busy looking Thursday night, but busy in like more of a long-term thinking way about the future because it's hitting all those outer planets. And it's trining Mars. So, which has just moved into Libra. So weird. It's like nothing, 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 and then sudden like burst of energy and a lot of stuff. So Friday, I mean so on Thursday, we do have Mars is now applying to a trine with Uranus, which is in very early Gemini, and applying to an opposition with Saturn, which is in early Aries, and applying to an opposition with Neptune, which is in early Aries. So some of that could come through on Thursday. Also, the moon is, so Thursday night, the moon trines Mars, which is about to tap Uranus. So again, wow, I just have like, I keep changing my take on Thursday. And that's kind of the vibe for Thursday. Expect the unexpected. That moon trine Mars in the evening / night, if you're on the East Coast of North America, is the moon trining Mars, which is about to trine Uranus. So there's a lot of surprising stuff. So the moon opposes Mercury in the middle of the night between Thursday and Friday. And then Mars trines Uranus around noon, on a little bit before noon on Friday. And then the rest of the day is concerned with, okay, the moon is like almost full. This is intense. Okay, the moon is like full of light. The moon is in the sign where the full moon is happening. The moon, all of Friday, the moon is just applying directly to fullness. So applying to the sun, the fullest moon you can get, the most light, with Mars trining Uranus and Mars opposing Saturn. So I don't know, this is like some form of innovation, definitely. And then the moon, or Mars Saturn configurations, especially axial alignments like the conjunction, the opposition, the square, are very like this hairdo, are very much like the gas and the brakes at the same time. So there's some sort of like innovation, disruption, frustration, or maybe something plumes up out of the frustration and makes the Uranus surprise thing happen, or some sort of innovation or something comes out of nowhere, and then it's like something puts the kibosh on it, like something stops it. Complicated and very interesting and very volatile, potentially, on Friday. And then, so Friday is also the full moon. So have fun. Friday is one of those full moons where so the moon isn't like configured harshly to this, but Friday is one of those like full moons that they're like, don't go out on a bad moon. It just seems like a lot. There's a lot of light. Even though like the moon aspects all this stuff before, so Thursday again, I'm looking at you. So that's the nature of this week. Chameleon, it's not what you expect. And Mercury's still retrograde, so maybe you get something wrong and then you realize that Thursday is way different than what it was when it first entered your consciousness. So that's Thursday and Friday. And then, so Saturday, the full moon has happened. Mars opposes Neptune in the evening, afternoon, evening. And Mars, Neptune, so the other thing about like all of this, so I don't have my stomach stuff, and so I'm spraying it with water to keep it from like, but the water actually makes the problem worse. So when the water wears off, it's like worse. Okay, so Mars, Neptune stuff, and this applies to all of this week, is like, what the F is their problem? It's like somebody is enraged about something that like to other people is not a big deal, or to other people they can't understand why, or there's also just like being driven towards something and it ends up being the wrong thing, or it can like sometimes be something like very imaginative, or something to do with magic. So just know that like all week there's all this intense Mars stuff. Mars is also opposing Neptune. Like one Mars, this was like a Mars-Neptune square thing I can think of like for myself. There was one Mars-Neptune square period where like I was so pissed off about something. Like I was livid, I was disgusted, it was the most epic, like I felt so wronged. And now I look back on it and there was like stuff I wanted to do that I'm so glad I didn't do. And now I look back on it and it's like, I could have just like let it go. I could have just not gotten as pissed off as I did. So that's a little of Mars, Neptune. And that's mostly Saturday. The moon moves into Pisces at night on Saturday. So maybe things can come down, except now anytime the moon's in Pisces, it's squaring Uranus. So more surprises, and Mars trines Pluto on Sunday. So this week is very powerful. Watch where you point that thing. Don't stick your finger in the light socket of this week. Be careful. Also on Sunday at night, we get another activation of the Venus-Jupiter conjunction that goes exact on Monday. So this is a very tight, like Venus and Jupiter are applying tightly, and the moon trines Venus and Jupiter at night. So there's all this weird, scary stuff, complicated, volatile, delusional Mars, Saturn, Mars, Uranus, Mars, Neptune, Mars, Pluto stuff. Mars trine Pluto is like a deep well of like power. So not only like with Mars opposing Neptune, could you like go in the wrong direction, you could like put all all the armies of the dead and all the king's men and everything behind it. That's a possibility. So just look at your motivations for things, I guess, and check yourself. But yeah, so Sunday is like the activation of the Venus conjunct Jupiter thing happening on Monday, because the moon is applying to Venus, applying to Jupiter. That's all day Sunday, and Venus is applying to Jupiter. So that sounds beautiful. I hope you have a wonderful time on Sunday. And, oh, and some tech news, I guess. Now I don't care about it as much. But there were a couple of things that I wanted to tell you about. And I'm just going to tell you about them. I'm not going to do like the whole, and I guess I'll go backwards. Or will I? Okay, I'm not going to do the whole like explanation of them, because you can look them up and have your AI companion do it in the style of your favorite comedian. Scientists are developing artificial blood that could save lives in emergencies. Scientists at the University of Maryland are developing erythromer, a freeze-dried artificial blood substitute made from hemoglobin encased in fat bubbles designed to be shelf-stable for years and reconstituted with water in emergencies. What could go wrong? I thought that was a pretty good Mercury retrograde, Mercury in Leo, Pluto in Aquarius thing. Aquarius, if you don't know, presides over the circulatory system and the venous blood. So yeah, I thought that was interesting, and I'm curious where that ends up going, since this came out during a Mercury retrograde. And then physicists blow up gold with giant lasers, accidentally disprove renowned physics model. Another, like a different type of version of Pluto in Aquarius, looking down the barrel of the sun in Mercury in Leo, blowing up gold. And also during a Mercury retrograde. And if you want to know more about the physics model, boring, I'm kidding. I don't even think that's a very funny joke, because of course I think that's interesting, but right now I'm just very much not in my harem style looking environment that I would like to be shooting in. I'm instead very uncomfortable. So I'm always like ready. I have like the energy in my videos of like, I'm just ready to like squirm out, like I immediately take off this sweater. Like, I don't wear this in real life. I just wear it for videos. Okay. So, and I have to save the best for last. Serious delays hit satellite mega constellations of China's Starlink rivals. That's like, if that were the only one, I probably would not have said I'm going to redo the tech news because that's boring, but it's just like, oh, massive communication delay. Mercury's retrograde. Researchers, okay, there's so many like Aquarius, Leo axis things happening in the news that I harvested for you this week. Researchers quietly plan to test to dim sunlight over 3,900 square miles. You can go look into this. It's like a saltwater spraying thing where they're just spraying particles into the air to like dim the sunlight. Again, what could go wrong? A solar geoengineering research advocacy group called Silver Lining and the scientific nonprofit SRI International didn't respond to detailed questions about the status of the larger cloud experiment. But Silver Lining's executive director said in an email that the Marine Cloud Brightening Program aimed to fill gaps in the information needed to determine if the technologies are safe and effective. In the initial experiment, the researchers appeared to have disregarded past lessons about building community support for studies related to altering the climate and instead kept their plans from the public and lawmakers until the testing was underway. Some solar geoengineering experts told E&E News. The experts also expressed surprise at the size of the planned second experiment. And when I was doing the tech news, you could probably find this in the transcript of my 9 hours of tech news video. I talked about this one of the weeks. There was like the first time they tried this experiment. This is not like brand new. They're doing it again though. So, and then Sam Altman said that your chats are not protected. So if you do something wrong, they can look at all your chats. Which I kind of wonder, like, what was the gap in time between when they're like, this is really a problem. Everybody's like giving lots of personal information and issuing an official statement about it. Not that like I don't know, if I ran a big company, I'm sure I would receive criticism for when I decided to say something. Like there is no, unless you issue a public statement the first time you see someone talk to ChatGPT like they're a therapist, then you're gonna get criticism. So I talked myself out of being critical. Elon Musk's X, formerly Twitter, plans to introduce investment and trading along with an X credit debit card. So this is important because there are apps like Polymarket that where you can vote on just anything. Everything's getting voted on, so everything becomes an investment market, and that's why with the money changing, the way, this is a part of how money is changing, is, okay, all your data is collected, and that's like, has to do with the robot slave wars and the human indentured servitude for UBIs, which is like a behavioral form of servitude in my speculative opinion. And everything is markets, and you're going to be just gambling and investing all the time. which is also interesting because there was stuff like, okay, everyone's an investor, everyone is on Robinhood, and then people who wanted to buy shares of Figma's IPO that just launched, they could only buy one share. If you're on Robinhood, you have to be like connected to a major trading firm, I guess, to buy more. I don't really understand how that works, so if you want to explain it to me, please do. And okay, and the last one, which you'll know why I'm saving it for last. Humans can be tracked with a unique fingerprint based on how their bodies block Wi-Fi signals. Researchers from La Sapienza University in Rome have developed WHOFI, a system that uses the way a person's body distorts Wi-Fi signals to re-identify them across different locations, even if they're not carrying a phone. Remember, your Wi-Fi is a camera that can see through walls. And love everyone and tell the truth.